Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Did you bring your thinking caps? Because it's time to put them on. Because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. This is the spot. This is the location. The place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. And today we have Martina Bafoil. She is, she's doing something different. There's a lot of different healing modalities, and hers is from Ireland. And so, I got an Irish last name, and my husband just is infatuated with Ireland. I want to hear about this Celtic Heart healing. What type of modality is that? What type of learning or energy or feeling that you get from that? That's not the normal Reiki. That's not the normal hypnotherapy. It's something more intricate, more detailed. I want to talk to her a little bit about growing up in Ireland. What did that look like and feel like? What is she pouring into other individuals? And how are they going to rise above and not fall short of the glory? So let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Martina?
I'm wonderful, April. Thank you. It's such a privilege and honor to be here and just to share my story and to connect with all of you that are watching and listening. So thank you for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you. So tell me, how do you show up in the world?
Well, I am 49 years young, 49 years on this planet at this time. I feel that I have been around a lot longer than that, but this particular journey began in 1973. My parents are both Irish. All of my ancestry is Irish, and had the privilege and fortune to grow up in the green fields of Ireland, and spent a lot of time roaming the fields back then. There was very little to do. We didn't have a lot of shows on the TV, and we had literally two channels, I think, back then. So I spent a lot of time in nature, climbing stone walls and roaming and picking flowers and blackberries and connecting to nature, and a lot of the time by myself as well. So yeah, very blessed to have
My
had.
daughter went to Ireland and she said, Mommy, I want to bring back a cute redhead boy and a Highland cow.
Yeah, there were a lot of cows, often stepped in cow dung, as we call it back then. Yeah. So,
but she said that it is so magical because it's so green and lush, and she said the people are so kind. What do you love about your heritage there and growing up?
I love the culture of the people, the warmth, the music, the traditions, the ancientness of it. There's so much, in Ireland. It's a very, very, very special place. The only part that I probably didn't enjoy, and probably one of the reasons why I chose to move away, was the weather. For me, it just rained too much.
Yeah.
So I really felt the calling to move to a warmer climate. So hence I ended up in Australia. And believe it or not, April, it was 26 years ago today that I landed in Australia for the very first time. So I'm celebrating 26 years here.
Happy anniversary there. I've been to
Yeah.
Australia, and Australia is a very different place within itself, too. The culture is very different. The landscape is different. It depends on where you are, but it's drier, more of the bush. So, and the culture. So, how was that for you? How was that transition for you? Was it a big adjustment?
Yeah, well, I came here at the age of 23, and I married the man that I came here with. So I was lucky to have come with somebody, and we had only planned to stay here for 12 months. Back then, we came on a working holiday visa, and uh, never really imagined that I would be settling down here and calling Australia home at all. But I just fell in love with the country and the magic of Australia, and really saw the opportunities that were here. But again, it is very difficult tearing yourself away from your roots and from your family. And that was definitely and has still continued to be quite a big part of my journey. My parents are in Ireland. I haven't seen them for almost 4 years, and
Oh,
that's really tough.
well, yeah, you guys had the lockdown from hell during COVID, boy.
Yeah,
You couldn't do anything. We had a little bit of freedom, but it was very, very difficult. During
yeah.
that time, what did you find out about yourself? What did you learn about yourself when we were in lockdown?
Well, was the last 2.5 years have been probably the most transformative years of my life. I actually separated from my husband just before COVID began, and was still living with him in the same house. And so we sort of went on that journey together, and we're navigating our separation. And throughout this whole process, I feel that I've really found more of myself than I ever did before. And I think a lot of people did. I think COVID was definitely a big reset for many people. And it gave us time to stop and to really evaluate what was important in our lives. So I was actually out of work for 5 months in the first round of lockdowns in COVID. And so
Mm.
that's when I started going within a lot more, and when I really, really got the call to get back and to start my healing work in a much bigger way. And so about 18 months ago, I actually left my husband and moved into an apartment by myself. And then in December, I decided, as a single mum with two teenage boys, I just decided that I had to start doing this work, that I
Mm.
just felt like people needed me and they need guidance right now. And I felt the calling so strongly that I had complete trust that this is the right thing for me to do. And in this whole time, I've changed. I've lost probably 30 kilos. And I know lots of people put it on in COVID. I actually lost weight, and I feel that I've just blossomed. And
Well, I want to pay you the utmost compliment because you were able to consciously uncouple and still be there, not scratch each other's eyes out, be there for your
oh,
children,
yeah,
a very difficult time, and
yeah.
blossom from that. So tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
So the work that I do has evolved. I started my probably my spiritual journey approximately 20 years ago. I've always been very connected to uh, the other world and the unseen world, but probably really seriously started delving into it about 20 years ago. And then it wasn't until about 10 years ago that I realized that I had the ability in me to do this work. And so I ferociously absorbed as many books and um, modalities as I could. I started out with Reiki, actually. I did Reiki 1 and 2, but I didn't really practice it for very long. And then I did some crystal healing, and I did a modality called Serenity Vibration Healing Technique. And then I actually mentored I was an apprentice, I suppose you could say, with my mentor, who was an amazing spiritual healer here in Sydney for about 5 years. And then when I stepped into my own self, I had to really stop and ask myself, what is it I wanted to do? How did I want to show up in this world? And I got complete guidance that everything that I needed was within me, that I didn't need any of these modalities to do anything, that all I had to do was be this vessel, this conduit for the divine and for the love that's coming through me. And really just allow people the space within themselves to reconnect with their own spirit, their own essence, their own heart, their own truth, and to really just help them melt away all of the distortions, all the beliefs, and all these patterns and programs that they've picked up along the way, where they're feeling so lost that they can't see themselves for who they truly are.
Mm.
And that's all I want for people, is to see how amazing and how powerful and how beautiful they are. They're all these divine, all of you guys, all
Right.
have these divine beings, and we've forgotten how to find ourselves.
But Martina, and I like to keep it 100
Mm-hmm.
with people. And you live there near the bush, and you had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of tall grass in Ireland. You've got to get through the weeds. You've
Yeah.
got to mow all of that down
Mm-hmm.
so that you can become anew. And
Yes.
that's terrifying for a lot of people. You've got
It,
you've got great modalities and great skills, but they've got to show up and do the work. And if you're fearful of what you're going to uncover, because you gotta pull the covers back. You gotta pull the covers back before you can heal. What do you say to that person that's terrified right now?
yes, and I totally resonate with that. There was times in my life where I felt totally lost, and I was relying a lot on food and alcohol to suppress all of these feelings that I was having, and I really didn't know how to get out of that. And the fear of even I remember actually knowing that alcohol wasn't serving me and being absolutely terrified of letting go of having alcohol in my life. And when I actually stopped drinking, I realized, oh my goodness, like this has just brought me so much more clarity and peace, and so much more energy. Like, why didn't I do it sooner? But it was the fear that was stopping me. And fear is real. Fear comes up for all of us. And I've learned how to really step through that fear, and that in every step is to face that fear, realize that it's just a story that we're telling ourselves, it's in our mind, it's really an illusion. And when you actually just kind of say, well, I'm just going to do it anyway, that getting through this fear has got to be better than staying where I am.
Mm.
You've got to realize that you've got to have change, and fear is a catalyst for change. When fear comes up, you know that you're onto something, you know that there's something there that's actually going to change your world.
Because
And
it ignites an emotion,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
um
and
and
we are emotional beings. So, there's a lot of stigma behind women, substance abuse, be it alcohol, food, drugs, whatever it is. And it's an additional layer of shame
oh
because,
yes.
we're a woman, we're a mother, or we're not supposed to be doing this, or somebody catch you out of sorts, the speech is slurred, or, you don't wake up, or you look disheveled. It's very, very hard for women. Do you find that women have a harder time with that than men?
Yeah, I do think so, and really, I think men do also suffer from it as well. But yeah, shame, shame and guilt and blame are huge in our society. And was brought up Catholic Irish, and they're amazing at making us feel so much shame and guilt for just being alive at times. So we have a collective consciousness of shame and guilt that sometimes that we tap into. But when we carry that within ourselves, it really stops us from loving ourselves, and it stops us from feeling that we deserve anything in life, that we deserve something better, because we just feel so much shame that we are then feeling not worthy, not deserving, and not
Exactly.
loved.
Well,
um,
and you feel like you're not enough. I
you
hear that
feel,
all the
yes,
time.
yes.
What is enough? We're empty vessels, and we
Yes,
just keep refilling ourselves. We will never be full until the day is done.
yes. And so when I feel that sense of not feeling enough or not feeling deserving or worthy of something, and it still comes up for me all the time. And it rears its ugly head here, there, and everywhere. I get triggered as well when something happens and go into that. And so when we get these triggers and we stop and we realize that, oh, why did I get triggered there? Oh, that's a wound that I had, from when I was a child, of not feeling good enough. And I actually, what really helps me is to remember that we are all fragments or pieces or beings from the same source. We are all part of this higher consciousness, and we are all connected. We are all one, and we are all so worthy. Not one person on this planet is not worthy of love and worthy of being here. We have all come onto this planet for a specific reason, each and every one of us right now.
Absolutely.
And we were
Absolutely.
chosen.
Well, but what do you say to the person that is, fighting against the religious doctrine? And now you're talking about energy and spirituality. I know that they go hand in hand, but a lot of people think that, oh, well, she's turned, to this world of woohoo. How do you make them feel comfortable? Because again, you understand that, and I'm sure that you still believe to some degree in your religion, I would assume, only because that's a part of who you were. You were indoctrinated. You've evolved into doing something else. But what do you say to that person that's on the fence? They don't know if they are in contrast or in complement.
Yes, yes. And I do. I have I come across clients all the time that are a little confused and unsure. And sometimes they're afraid of their religion or their faith has actually made them afraid of working with spirit. And it really takes me some time to allow them to know in their heart that they can trust me and trust the energies coming through me. But I believe that there is truth in all of religions, and there is good in all religions, but there is also a lot of distortion and a lot of rules and regulations and um, abuse of their
Right.
people's faith. And I know that it's a very sensitive topic, and I don't want to ever judge anybody for whatever religion or faith that they have. But for me, when I came away from the Catholic faith, I was very confused. I remember feeling that I was religious. That's how I felt. I felt spiritual. I felt connected to God, but the Catholic faith just didn't resonate or align with me anymore. And when one day I actually went to a healer, and it was like everything kind of came clear to me that it was like I was in this little closed box, and then all the walls of the box fell away, and I realized that there is so much more to the spiritual realms than just the specific religion that people are following or believing in. And that when you kind of drop all the rules and the corruption and the distortions away, that it's all part of a much, much bigger picture, if that
Because
makes
it
sense.
is all mind control.
Yes, yes,
All mind control. And when you open yourself up to receive a direct download, direct from source, not
correct. That's it.
between none of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's 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 an aha moment, and that's scary too, because you go, "What is this?" This is the unfamiliar.
yes,
I am walking into something. How do I navigate this? How am I responsible? Am I in contrast to what I believe in? Is this the devil? You
mm,
know, are people really lying to me? Tell me a little bit about your modality. What do you do with people? Is this talk therapy? Is this, because you said that you use crystals and energy work. Tell me a little bit about what it is if I was in a session with you.
So yes, there is an element of counseling, I suppose. I'm not a qualified counselor, but I do channel, I believe, wisdom from my higher self and my I am presence, and um, really want to know how the person is, where they're at, and each session is completely different, really. But once we've established where they're at and what's going on in their life, I can pick up lots from what they say and their body language, and then I either take them on a journey into the Akashic records through a meditation, and we do some clearing and healing in the Akashic records, which is the Akashic record is your soul's library and contains all of the information of your soul's journey. And it's a very beautiful, safe, and powerful space to work in. Or if I'm doing a face to face healing, then I place the client on a table and connect with them with my hands on their, I usually start at the feet, and I tap into the, as you said, it's pure source. So I with the assistance of my ancestral lineage, my
Right.
guides, my my team, and also the person who I'm working with, their ancestors and their guides as well. And I just allow that energy to come through me. And sometimes it guides me on a journey through their chakras, and I can see, any blocks or anything that needs to be released in their actual energy centers. Sometimes it might be deep ancestral clearing that I have to do. I It's all intuitively guided, and I literally just really step out of the way completely and let the energies do all of the work. And it's actually quite challenging because, my ego is saying, well, I must be doing something. I've got to be doing something. But I absolutely trust now that I'm literally just the vessel and the conduit, and I step out of the way completely and let,
Trust. That's a big
yeah.
$25 word.
I
Yes,
say
because it has
yeah.
to be trust on both sides. Because again, keeping it real, when you open up these portals and you open up these channels, all energy that comes through is not necessarily positive.
Mm-hmm.
And so
So
what you have to do is you have to buffer that, you know. And so what do you do to clear yourself? What do you do to take yourself down, um, so that you are clear and you protect yourself as well as the energy that you're transferring into your client?
yes, and it is super important. And I've learned discernment over the years as well, and I've been shown that I am a very pure channel, that my heart is very pure. I actually work a lot, and this is quite woo woo, but I work a lot with the dragon energies at the moment. I have discovered really quite recently that I yeah I my medicine animal is a white dragon, and the energies that I connect to are extremely pure, extremely powerful, and I'm very, very, very protected. And I know that in every single moment, I have actually got a massive amount of protection around me because I'm here to do some serious work on this planet. And I actually have been shown that since I was born, I have actually had a really, really big team of guides around me because of the the work that I'm here to do.
Well, let me jump in here 1 minute and talk about the dragons. Because again, I'm open to a lot of things, and I went on a meditation a couple times. I haven't been back, but a couple times on a meditation on the back of a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Did not really realize how powerful that was. It's
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
it's hypnotic, and if you get someone that can really kind of, take you down, 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 and you're on the back of this and you feel the fire and you roar up and you have the courage, all that. It was a trip. It was definitely a trip. And like I said, I'm being totally transparent. I don't know if that's a trip that I want to go on all the time. I don't know where that's going to lead me, because I could also see, for me only, how I could also be manipulated in that space, because
Mm-hmm.
it is transformative, because it
Mm-hmm.
is hypnotic, you know. So I
Mm-hmm.
kept a barrier up. I'm really good with my own meditation. I'm very good with source, and I do have a very strong religious doctrine. So when I got in that place, I wasn't comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with just letting go with that. Now, again, like I said, everybody's different. I'm not, your experience, you got that big old dimple showing. It must have been off the chain for you. You was like, woo. And that's good. And I was like that at first too. But as it started as I started to go back and kind of think about what I went through, and I re-listened to the meditation, to what the person was saying, how they were taking me there, how the breath and breathing was a lot different. It wasn't that slow uh, inhale, exhale. It was a fast syncopation. It was like, and
Yes.
that was a trip to even go into that space, because I had never did my meditation like that. It was like, you got to be
Yeah,
all,
yeah, yeah.
in the zone, but somebody's taking you at a faster pace. It was a trip. It was
Breath,
definitely,
yeah, breath work can activate a lot. There are people who actually have, hallucinations through breath work.
yeah.
It is very, very powerful. It releases DMT in your pineal gland, and yeah, it can really activate a lot. But the breath is extremely powerful. I practice conscious breath a lot, and really knowing that every breath we take is from the divine, and every breath we breathe out, we are breathing it out into the world. It's our soul signature frequency. And so when we really tap into the breath, it's very powerful.
I mean, the breath was the very first gift. That's the gift of life,
Exactly.
And when you die, you take your last breath.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's a whole lot that goes on in between. So
Yes.
let's go in between and find out a little bit, some fun things about you. If you were an animal, what animal would you be and why? A
Oh,
dragon? No. Is a dragon
well,
an animal? It's a
ah,
mythical animal, but
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
and you know what? There was a lot of dragons back in Ireland too. So
That's right, and I'm realizing the connection, and yeah, the it's all kind of making sense, yeah, there's a lot of dragons even going back to Atlantis and what was
right.
going on there as well. So there's a lot of yeah, dragon energy throughout history, really. Um, but if I was, yeah, and is a dolphin an animal? That's a mammal, isn't it? Is that
Well,
can I
you could be
pronounce
you
that
could be a
wrong?
dolphin. Why would you be a dolphin?
I love the ocean. I absolutely when I'm in or near the ocean, I feel like it is the connection between heaven and earth. I just it's for me it's the most magical place, and it's where I feel this sense of being home, because I feel like I'm really in my space of being this in between worlds. And I'm a little bit fearful of the ocean when it's too rough and the waves get too strong. And I would love to be a dolphin and just be able to go out and just ride those waves and swim and go underwater. And I just think they're the most, heart centered. You can just
They're
feel
so
the love
smart.
frequency
They
from
are
them.
so
Yeah.
smart.
And they're very smart too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, what brings you the greatest joy? Not your kids, not your work. Okay.
I've got lots of things that I love, but the first one that came up was to sing. I absolutely love singing. And when I sing, and I'm not the best singer in the world.
Yes, you.
Um, but I absolutely, yeah, just love especially in a group. I sing a lot in the shower and at home and in the car, but if I sing with people in a group, like kirtan, I don't know if you've ever done kirtan, they call and response, the mantra singing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. Or just, I have some friends and sometimes we light a fire and we just sing around the fire. And it just lifts
Well,
my
in
spirit.
Ireland, that's a very cultural thing that you do, that you get together again and
Yes.
sing. Do you play an instrument?
I wish I did. It's probably one of my biggest regrets. And
Why?
I'm
Life is
still,
not over. I'm
it's
taking
not too
guitar lessons.
late. That's
I'm
right.
taking guitar lessons, and girl, that's a hot mess.
Ah, well, me too. I've got a guitar
Guitar.
here, but it needs tuning. And I'm not
Oh,
very
and
good at it.
you can tune it online. There's no excuse. You can tune it
Uh,
online, and you know what? It's brain stimulating. It stimulates a different part of your brain. So
yes.
I encourage that. Now, if you were to have three wishes, what would they be?
Oh,
Anything.
goodness. Uh, Unlimited first class travel anywhere in the world. Just a ticket to first class travel so I could visit sacred sites and visit. I just have this um, yearning to travel, to connect with different cultures, different ways of life, different parts of the world. I just think we're on this earth to experience all of it. So, and I've done a lot of economy. I've never flown business class or first class. So,
Oh, well, honey, let me tell you, I came first class. I've flown first class internationally a few times, but I came to Australia with Ellen DeGeneres.
oh,
And
wow.
I got in one of those little pods on Quantum Airlines, honey. Let me tell you, don't you fly any other way.
Yeah, yeah,
It was a little pause, and you can sleep relatively comfortably. They serve you food. They had this beautiful lounge. Oh, that Quantum Airlines is quite the business.
yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
that that would be incredible. Like, and yeah, and so second would be I would love my own healing center, or wellness center, or a place for community to come, for families to come for weekends, for workshops, for fun, for connection, for healing, for a myriad of things. I would just love to have a space in nature where people can come, either stay the weekend or the week, or just come for the day and to really be nourished and to
You
find
know, you
something.
are, that's the work that you do. You
Mm-hmm.
can put up a big tent,
Mm-hmm.
put it out there, and start. You start intimately,
Yeah.
and it will
Yeah.
absolutely blossom. So I can definitely see that happening for you
Yeah. Yeah.
easily.
All I need is some land, really,
Yeah.
just some, yeah.
All
So
you have to
that's,
do is make the ask. Somebody's
yes.
somebody's out there. Are you listening, brains? She needs some
Yes.
space. Space.
That's right.
You have office
And
space or whatever. Let her come and trick it out, and work with you and get it done. So we're making the ask right now. And what's your third one?
yeah, and that's the thing. I realize that, things can come to us in a myriad of ways. It's not always necessarily just from money or from
Right?
things. That
Non-traditional. What
it can happen any way, shape, or form. And my other third wish,
that's a dirty one. I see
that's
you.
a,
I see you. What's he look?
you
What,
do.
what does he look like, girl? He must be a hottie because that dimple went deep.
Yeah, actually, you know what? You've probably hit the nail on the head there. That would be it for me. I would love to find my divine other. Yes, absolutely.
All right.
And I look forward to that. I just think that would be a beautiful journey to take with somebody. And I don't believe that we're on this planet to be alone. I believe that we're meant to share it with someone and to go on this journey and to learn from each other and grow from each other. So I am absolutely, yeah, that would be my third wish, would be to find
No,
my divine
just
mother.
draw, girl, you got to draw it out like a map,
Yes.
exactly what you want. But also with that, you're going to have to look at what you're willing to adjust, what you're willing to accept, because there's no perfect package.
No, that's right.
There's no perfect package. And because you have this insight and this energy and that white dragon,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be able um, to find, who you want, but you're also going to be able to really reveal that now that you've done the work and see who they are
Yeah.
and what value they're going to bring to you and those two boys.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about your boys for a minute. What are you pouring
Oh,
into? What are you pouring into them to make them better men? Because it's
they
hard for a woman to raise a man.
they're incredible. They're like, my youngest is almost 16 and my eldest is 17 and a half. And last weekend, it was was it last weekend was Halloween, and they were here, and my eldest is a girlfriend, and she said to me that her mother said to her when she met Luca that she wanted to find my phone number and to ring me to congratulate me on raising such a lovely young man. And I was like, oh my God, that was the best thing I could possibly hear. He had brought flowers for his girlfriend, and I just thought, oh, wow, like how beautiful is that? And I really don't I don't feel that I actually do anything. It's how I am in my own life and how I show them how to show up in the world. And because I've done a lot of the work, um, it's amazing when you do this healing work and this energy work, how it ripples down through your children. Um, and I am so grateful. You mentioned earlier when I separated, we did it very consciously and very amicably. And I think the boys have seen how it can be done, and they have seen that we've both shared love with each other, and we've always respected each other no matter what. And I just think that they've learned from us. Not, I don't really feel like I do anything magical with them. When I spend time with them, I talk to them about emotions. I tell them it's not bad to feel emotions, that it's actually a beautiful thing to feel emotions. And I never tell them to not to cry. Um, and I just always say to them to tap into their hearts and ask what their heart's wanting them to do and wanting them to be.
Because that's a key indicator of
Yeah.
relationships is how a man treats his mother,
Mm-hmm.
how he looks at his mother. I
Mm-hmm.
know I've been married 38 years and
Wow.
I adore the breeze that keeps him cool. Yes, I do.
Oh, that's
I
beautiful.
looked at how he nurtured his mother. And my mother came and lived with us. It was real cool. She lived with us for 30 years. Everybody had their own space. It wasn't no problem. But I looked at how he loved my mother. And my mother she was dying, and it was hard for her to take her medicine. And one day I came in here and he had bought those little puddings and he would trick her. He'd put her pill in the pudding because it was hard for her to swallow. And then he'd say, okay, is it in this one? Is it in this one? And they laughed and they giggled. And it was just such a beautiful thing to see him do that, not only for his mother, but for my mother. And there was a certain amount of love that just radiated through the room. And I feel that with him. And,
Yes.
my daughter, the same thing. I said, when you find a person, you want to see how they treat their extended family, their sisters, their cousins, because that's a key indicator of how they're going to treat you. It's that epigenetics, it's that intergenerational trauma. Are
Yes.
they trying to break that chain? Is that the weakest link?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they trying to link it together so that you stay together?
Yeah.
So you have to honor all of that and you have to look at that. It's
Yeah.
very important. And I think that you've been so revealing and just so gracious. And I thank you for everything that you're doing in the world. And, just being honest and true to yourself. And that's going to radiate in every aspect of your life. So thank you so much, Martina, for being here with me on the edge. Please tell my brains about your current offering that you have. You're going to have a group that's going to be starting here soon. I want to hear a little bit about that and how to get in contact with you.
Well, so to all of you beautiful brains out there, I'm beginning a 10-week course called Love Yourself Free very shortly. And it's going to really be a transformative 10 weeks of working very intimately with me, and a group, because I love group energies. I think we all learn so much from each other when we work in a group. And that will be diving into lots of ancestral healing, healing the mother wound, the father wound, doing some shadow work, doing some very deep work with shadow, with the inner child, amongst a lot of other tools and tips. I really want, to be able to share the things that have helped me in my life, so that you then can go off and on your journey and you're not reliant on somebody. I just don't want to have this codependency. I really want to empower you with gifts and tools so that you can evolve and grow in your own space and your own time. So that's what I really want with this course. And opportunities to work with me one-on-one as well. And you can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm in the process of changing my name from Celtic Heart Healing to Celtic Heart and Soul. So I'm launching a website very, very soon as well. So I will share, perhaps April, I don't know if you can add it on later
Oh yeah,
on.
absolutely. What
Yeah,
we'll do is we'll put your current contact information, and when it evolves and it changes,
yes,
then we'll go ahead and do that too. You know
that's
what I
it.
also hear? My download to you is I hear you doing audible work.
Yes,
Not
right.
not necessarily a book, but maybe some audible programs, because you have a beautiful voice inflection. Maybe you could do some Irish chants. And oh, I see. We'll talk offline.
Well, it's definitely, because that's why I decided to create my website, is because I do a lot of meditations live. I actually have a group here that meet every Tuesday to meditate, and I do a lot of my Akashic record journeys online, and I actually have recordings. And so I definitely want to do more meditation healings, Akashic record readings, recordings. I would love to do for children and teenagers as well, to help the children with anxiety and bullying and stress and all of the things that children have to go through as well, and teach them some little tools and tricks to help them ground and
Absolutely.
look after their energy too.
Well, I mean, because it for centuries and decades has been corporal punishment. Okay, well, if you don't listen to me, then I'll beat it into you. And that's not what we have to do. We have to give them options. We have to give them choices. We have to give them life skills so that we make a kinder, gentler world. Because right now, I'm
Yeah.
concerned. I'm really,
Yeah.
really concerned. And so you're doing a fine job, though, because you got two fine young men and you look really happy. And I'm so glad that you will be that dolphin in the sea. Maybe you're a mermaid.
Maybe I am a mermaid. I am Pisces, so
And it's so wonderful having you here on the Edge. Brains, go in, check it out. I tell you guys all the time, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid to be free, or are you free to be afraid? You have
Mhm.
to ask yourself. Question yourself, do the deep dive, get into the ocean, get your feet wet, because it's very important that you uncover and discover as much as you can on this journey. This is not it. And whether you believe me or not, this is not it. But
Mm.
the it that it is, make it the best that it can be. I love you. Thank you so much, Martina. You're the best.
Thank you so
Uh,
much. Have
Brains,
a beautiful evening.
have a good evening. You too, baby. Bye bye.